Has any of you ever met an angel in real life, or rather, in human form? If you're not a person and not very nice, then don't bother because your chances are zero. Perhaps the closest you'd ever get to meeting one is at the hospital, like a nurse or a newborn baby. So tell us, are nurses and babies sent from above? For instance, take Lily Thompson. She was a registered nurse known for her compassion. Lily had dedicated her life to caring for others, and her heart overflowed with a selfless kindness that touched the lives of all who crossed her path. But honestly, can anyone be that nice? And for all you bachelors out there, she was single and quite the catch. Her parents lived in another state, and she had been an only child. This forced her to make up for her lack of friends by being too friendly to whoever she met. Over time, she became quite popular all through elementary school, even up to nursing school. She was nominated for an award as the nicest student in her class at the graduation ceremony. But just being compassionate didn't have to be all there was to her. In addition to being a regular nurse, she was also a volunteer at the homeless shelter on Saturday evenings. Rather than go out on the town and hang out with other colleagues, she made sure she always went down to the shelter to cater to whoever needed some medical attention there. Certain bad characters could easily have taken her kindness for weakness. You probably don't know how homeless people can be. All day, you'd find them getting into all sorts of unhygienic situations. In the process, sustaining one infection or another. So Lily felt she had to help, even if it was for the sake of it. At the end of the day, she went away with a good feeling in her heart. You can trust those homeless people she treated to be back with a new set of injuries the following weekend. Life was just as busy and rewarding on weekdays. On one sunny morning, as Lily entered the neonatal intensive care unit at the general hospital where she worked, she noticed a couple through the corner of her eyes who seemed to be worried. They were the parents of a newborn baby named Emily. They anxiously stood by the bedside, their faces lined with concern. Another nurse collided with Lily as she stood there. Then they both glanced impatiently at each other as the second nurse hurried off. Lily turned her attention back to Emily. The little bundle of joy was born prematurely and was immediately placed in a proper incubator. During her birth, she had come into the world fighting for her dear life, but her condition had since stabilized. So when Lily observed the looks on the faces of Emily's parents, she guessed that something was not right. There was no doctor in sight, and Emily's parents seemed like they were so afraid for their baby that they actually forgot to call out for help. To be fair, it was their first baby. They didn't know what to expect. So when the baby's skin started to turn pale, they didn't figure it was a sign that something was going terribly wrong. Lily's heart skipped a beat on behalf of Emily's parents. She immediately sprang into action. There was little time to involve a doctor. It seemed there was a bigger emergency happening somewhere else in the hospital. Lily figured it was the reason no other hospital personnel were at hand. Once Lily drew nearer to Emily and her parents, it felt like Emily was in a life or death situation. What exactly could it be that was turning Emily pale, only a day after surviving her premature birth? It also seemed Lily was the only medical personnel on this entire floor. So could she fix this? And where the heck were the doctors when you needed them? Lily now dug deep into her experience. It helped that she had seen countless babies struggle for survival. She also knew every baby was different from the last one, and so she approached each one with care, and especially a gentle touch. Finally, Lily hoped her diagnosis would be right. But would Emily's delicate body respond well to being treated? As Lily examined Emily, the first thing she noticed was that the baby's oxygen levels were dangerously low. Her tiny chest moving with each labored breath. Was the oxygen tubing securely inserted into Emily's nose? Or was the oxygen gauge turned down too low? Whatever it was, Lily immediately saw that it was above her pay grade, so she ran out of the room to go find a doctor. Fortunately, Lily was able to get a hold of Dr. Andrews. She had barely found him in the napping room. Otherwise, there was simply no other free doctor on call. Together, They worked tirelessly to stabilize Emily's condition. They carefully adjusted the monitors, administered medication, and ensured that Emily's fragile body received the care it desperately needed. All it mostly took was a little adjustment to the life support system that was sustaining Emily. More importantly, would this approach work? Days turned into weeks, and the neonatal intensive care unit became Lily's second home. She spent hours upon hours by Emily's side, constantly monitoring her process and offering comfort to her anxious parents. Lily's presence alone brought peace of mind to the worried parents, who drew strength from her dedication to help Emily pull through. As the weeks passed, Emily's condition gradually improved. The baby began to gain a little weight, and her fragile frame grew stronger with each passing day. Lily's heart was filled with joy as she witnessed the miraculous transformation unfolding before her eyes. So the bond between nurse, patient, and family grew stronger with every shared moment of hope. News of Lily's heroic efforts spread throughout the hospital and touched the hearts of her colleagues. The nurses and doctors marveled at her unwavering commitment as she went above and beyond her duties to ensure Emily's well-being. The entire medical team rallied behind Lily, offering their support and encouragement during this remarkable journey. But then, in a twist of fate that surprised everyone tied to the story, something truly extraordinary happened. On a particularly rainy afternoon, Lily received a surprise visit in the neonatal intensive care unit. A kind-hearted couple approached her, their eyes filled with longing and tears. The couple introduced themselves as Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds. They explained that they had been struggling with infertility for years and had nearly given up hope of ever having a child. However, after hearing about Lily's heroic efforts to save baby Emily, they were inspired to embark on one final attempt to conceive through IVF. Lily listened to them attentively as they told her about their decision to conceive in the same hospital where she worked. They hoped that Lily would be their good luck charm this time around. By the way, Mrs. Reynolds was already 7 months gone. The couple also wanted Lily to be their only nurse on call. It was a lot to ask for two strangers who had only heard about Lily on the news. But Lily liked their positive attitude. She was also flattered that they chose her as their inspiration. So began the in-house care of Mrs. Reynolds. She was admitted to the hospital the very next day. Since her pregnancy was fragile, she also needed constant observation. So, Lily was called to duty yet again. This time, she was going to be nursing both the mother and the unborn child. She was going to employ the same dedication as before and perform her angelic magic once again. Most times, she sat by Mrs. Reynolds' bed and they just talked. This really helped the couple overcome the pressure of getting it right this time. Even the unborn child would occasionally kick in response to Lily's presence, and Mrs. Reynolds would feel the pain. Over time, the delivery date came around. The doctors knew they had to be extra careful with this one. Lily was by Mrs. Reynolds' side, holding her hands as she successfully delivered her baby. It was a healthy baby boy. The joy that both parents felt at that moment was complete. They had given birth to a healthy baby against all odds. Lily had been both the inspiration and the lucky charm for all of it. If the Reynolds could name their son Lily, they would have gladly done so. They agreed that Lily was a girl's name. But then they got a great idea and named their son Lyle instead. Lily easily realized that her acts of selfless kindness had set in motion a chain of events that surpassed her wildest dreams. Her determination to save baby Emily's life had unknowingly resulted in a miraculous gift upon the Reynolds family. It gets better. A week after they were discharged from the general hospital, Lily received a random letter. She was at the nurse's station trying to enter some data into the computer when the mailman handed it to her. Her colleagues standing around all paused as she opened it. Lily pulled out a letter from the Reynolds and then a check for $1 million. It turned out that the Reynolds were a wealthy couple, and right then, Lily fainted.